What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Shoe Show on Tour. Today we're hanging out at the Racing Warehouse in Lowell, North Carolina, and this is a place where we're meeting with our buddy Eric Lawson, who's going to show us around and tell us about the history of the business. A lot of you guys shop sheet metal there, and honestly, I'd never even heard of the Racing Warehouse until I became a Corey LaJoie fan, because all you guys buy way too much sheet metal for your house. So let's tour the shop. All right, y'all, we're here with Eric Lawson. He runs this place, the Racing Warehouse. And Eric, how are you?
I'm doing well this morning.
Good. Just was curious to see about this place on Teams. I've been a part of Team Super Shoe now for a few years, and I never heard about it until I joined that group. And there's so many people that buy from there, and didn't realize how cool of a hobby it can be, and also how much it gets me in trouble with the wife. So
yes, sir. Well, there's a lot of people that say that their wives fuss at them for their collections, but they let them keep buying. And fortunately, we've been doing this for a long time, and probably since about 2010. That's when we got started, and it was just kind of a hobby. I grew up in Bristol and just bought a few pieces when I moved to Mooresville, and then I ended up with a few more pieces, and then I had a whole bunch of sheet metal, and I ended up selling a little bit on eBay, and just got into this whole little deal where just buying and selling it and trading it. And I'm still, as of yesterday, I'd bought some new pieces and put them up. There's a couple hanging here, and this whole wall, I don't know if you can see in the background, two of those pieces are newer pieces for me, the Ken Schrader piece and the Rudd 28 door. I've had the 10 for a while, but so we redecorated there and put some new stuff up. And
so this wasn't the original garage.
This is not, and I did it out of my literal house.
How long was that?
I started in 2010 and probably just played around with it. Like I didn't have any connections to race teams or anything. I was just buying stuff to hang up, and I had too much. And that's how it kind of evolved into a storage building. And then I had like 4 storage buildings. And finally I had to get a building to put everything in, and we started selling things. So I rented a little small building here in town, and we didn't have heat or air or anything, and it was truly a hobby. And I continued my other job while I was doing it, and then when we found this place, when we go to the other building, you'll see what was up, but we were in that side of it, which was 3,000 square foot, and I had heat and air and a poker table and cornhole and ping pong. So it's kind of like a huge man cave.
Right.
And we didn't have that much stuff, but we got on Facebook and started a Facebook group, and that really grew our fan base, if that's for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
I think we do have some fans, people that come through. Every time they come through town, they'll stop here. And as the word gets out through people like you and all the social media stuff we do, they continue to stop here, man. And we just keep growing it. And we put the retail shop in during COVID because we didn't have anything else to do.
Right.
So we rented this side of the building and decorated this out and put up walls and all that, and tried to make it like, it's really a unique place. I don't think there's anywhere else like it.
Yeah.
Outside of the gift shops at the race shops, maybe.
Right.
But there's neat stuff, like those gloves are Kyle Busch wind gloves from Charlotte, and they're autographed. So we get some neat things in here.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys go to the races much?
We do.
Yeah.
We do, yeah. Well, I do. 2 or 3 of the people who work here go with me, and we usually keep it close. We do Bristol, Martinsville, Charlotte, Darlington. I haven't been out. I've been to New Hampshire and Texas, but there's still a lot of tracks I want to go to.
Wanted to ask you about this. I know we talked about it earlier, but the Racing Warehouse hood, was that on a race car?
It was. That was the first car we sponsored, and it was Xfinity Series with Joey Gase, and he ran at Bristol. So we had him. We wrapped the car to look like an old throwback to Sterling Marlin when Sterling ran there in '99 after Tennessee won the national championship. And Joey put that on his car, and it looked really cool going around my home track.
Yeah. That's great. Well,
Yeah.
Show me around. Let me see what all cool pieces you have, and maybe how maybe everything is made.
Well, the 2 suits that are hanging up were 2 of my favorite drivers. Ricky Rudd. Everybody that worked here got me that for Christmas last year and surprised me. So that was really, really cool. and they were excited to give it to me. That's the only driver suit I've seen of his, so I was proud to get that. And then this, through a bunch of mutual trades, came from a guy. That's Paul Menard's Brickyard windsuit.
Oh.
And I was really proud to get that as well.
Yeah.
Since he had 1 Cup win, and that was the suit. So happy about that. And our whole wall, like the hoods for me are the kind of iconic spot in here. You know, a Wood Brothers hood, but then all the way down to the 3 7-time champions on the
Right.
end.
Yeah.
Pretty dang cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
There's a rookie side of Davey Allison back in the back. The 1987 piece.
Oh wow.
This was a Jimmy Johnson Daytona 500 side, I believe, from like 2005 maybe. It's autographed. That was pretty neat. And then I've got my little Wilkesboro corner over here where I just got this flag. This was a Benny Parsons
Wow.
IROC race win from 1976. So I'm gonna frame that, I believe.
Yeah.
I just hung it up for race weeks, but this was the original sign that was on the front. Let me grab this picture, I'll show you. It was the original sign that was on the starter stand in '96 when the last race that they had at Wilkesboro until this past year.
Wow.
So pretty tickled to have that hanging. I've had a million people ask to buy it, but that was a gift, and I'm gonna hang on to that one.
Yeah.
That was raced at Wilkesboro, Jeff Bodine. Those are some of my favorite pieces.
Some of these things I'm surprised they're not in the museum or the Hall of Fame or anything.
I do feel like some of them are worthy of it, honestly. Some pretty neat stuff, which they obviously have incredible stuff, but I'm proud to be able to display it.
Yeah.
That was a Ricky Rudd piece. What else is in here? This Darrell Waltrip suit is really cool. I found pictures yesterday, actually, from 1984 that matched up with that. He's sitting on the wall with Neil Bonnet at Talladega. And that suit, every logo matches up. So I don't know that it was that exact suit, but I have 2 of them. So it was one of those suckers that I would think that he wore there.
What's with the? Is this a display hood? They didn't run this, did they?
No, it was a it was a gift to an employee at Hendrick.
Huh.
And he was the team manager of the 48-88 team.
Okay.
So when he retired from Hendrick, he moved and sold pretty much everything that he couldn't take with him, I guess.
Yeah.
Too big. And I told him I'd hang it up in here, man. I thought it was really cool. It was signed by both crew chiefs, Rick Hendrick, and then both drivers, Dale and Jimmy. So
What about the 76 and Sunoco? Did those come from a track?
yeah, the 76 came from Daytona. I bought it out of a bar in Daytona, but it came from the Speedway. I was really happy to get that.
Yeah.
It was a super cool piece, and it fits perfect right there to go into the room of sheet metal.
Right.
And Sunoco I bought in Daytona, but it was not from the track. It was just at an antique shop, and we cut the back off, and Jeff Stankiewicz actually helped me with it. He's a crew chief up at RCR for Sheldon Creed. And he fabricated a bag, put LEDs in it, and it lights up, so it's pretty cool to have that hanging in here. My original idea was to put it, I wanted a huge opening from that room into the retail, and I was going to hang it from the ceiling, but it was way too big and heavy.
Right.
So,
Well, good deal. Well, can we check out the sheet metal room?
Let's go through the corner here, and you'll see some Corey stuff. All kinds of things in here.
Did drivers ever come here and visit you?
Yeah, every now and then. It's pretty neat to see some guys come in, and from all the series, really. This whole wall is kind of my Busch Series wall. I started keeping those when I found a side that was cut like yesterday. We hung that up. Compliments of a guy, Matt, out of Ohio. I bought that from him. I thought it was really cool, and hung it up. But I was going to tell you about, I was sitting working at the computer, and a guy walked in, a young kid, and he said, "Hey, how you doing? Where you from?" "Oh, South Carolina." So that's cool. Well, let me know if you need any help. All right. And he came to about the hole in the wall here, and turned around and said, "Hey, man, you got any Colby Howard stuff?" And I kind of looked at him. It was a unique request, Colby Howard. And I said, yeah, I do actually. I said, what's your name? And he grinned. He said, Kobe Howard. So I came back, and he'd wanted one of his doors from the 91 truck. And he'd always kept a door from everything he raced on, and he didn't get one of those. So I had one, and he came in. It was super cool, man. Really nice guy. Signed a bunch of stuff, but we've had all kinds of random drivers come through here. We're still waiting on Dale Jr. I tell them all the time, we gotta keep the floors clean, keep it looking good, because one day Dale Jr. is gonna walk in. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but
all right, shout out to Dale Jr.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I'm playing the kickball game tomorrow, so maybe I'll see him and tell him to swing by. So awesome. Is that a Randy piece up there, or is that a different 74?
That's a different 74. That was maybe.
Yeah, maybe the year before. I think he took over for a couple of years.
I can't remember who drove that. You stumped me.
So what's the process for you guys to get all these pieces and cutting them and all that?
That's a good question. We when I got into it and really started growing, I was introduced to a guy at Roush Fenway, and so they would wholesale their sheet metal. At that time, they had a bunch of Nationwide and Xfinity cars, teams, as well as their cup teams. So they had a ton of sheet metal every week that was getting torn up. We would just go up and buy it in bulk, and I'd bring it back and cut it and get it ready to sell. And I parlayed that into another team. Richard Petty was next door at the time, and I met the people over there, and they started wholesaling their stuff to me. So then I had a little bit of name recognition, and I went to Kyle Busch Motorsports and JTG, and I met Jody Geschecter, and she was really sweet to me and treated me good, and that gave me a good foundation to go and talk to race teams and tell them what I was trying to do. And so some of the teams now I buy direct from, Roush, Penske, guys like that. And then some of the teams I do consignment stuff with, when KBM's going out, and bought by Spire. But
yeah.
I worked with KBM for the last 7 or 8 years, that we would go and get all their stuff, cut it, sell it, and try to represent it correctly and in the best way we could, so the fans could know they could trust us with what they were buying. And then we send a check to the team every month, and it's just been a good relationship. It works for them to get rid of their stuff, and,
right.
It allowed us to build and grow, and we started a website during the COVID era as well, so that really helped us move stuff. But I'll show you where we cut and get everything ready over there in a second.
Okay.
Just some neat stuff hanging around everywhere, man. People never even really see the old Thunderbird nose up there.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty neat. And my Clabber Girl piece was Stevie Reeves. That was a team out of Bristol where I grew up with Ed Whitaker Racing, and I love that car. So I don't know how many people have come in here, because I've got the side that matches it, and they've sent him messages like, check this out. But I don't know, we can go over here and check this side out. We hung that up yesterday.
Terry
Labonte. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I had originally sold that the first time I got it, and then the guy that bought it, he sold it to somebody, and then that guy drove from Connecticut and sold it back to me this past week. So I said, I'm gonna keep it hanging up. It's a unique looking piece. I love this section over here. There's a lot of old stuff hanging up. An old Harry Gant pit wall banner that's pretty dated. A Benny Parsons hood that we got to put up. This is where all the magic happens, and this thing's covered so you can't really see it, but for the people that follow you, we just picked this Dale Earnhardt side up. And
okay.
It's from '92. It's Illumina, and there's a guy out of Michigan, I believe, that bought it, and we're packaging it up. He's gonna come pick this sucker up.
As a long piece.
It's a big one, man, and it's fragile. It's really, really cool. It came direct from a guy at RCR that cut it off the car in '92, and he's had it ever since. And people talk about barn finds. This was so crazy. Like, his barn is literally right off of an exit that we get off of. I've got off that exit 100 times, and so this side was in that barn up in the rafters. he said it's been there for over 25 years in the rafters and never seen daylight.
Wow.
But the roof started caving in on the barn, so he had to get it out, and he decided he'd get rid of it. He didn't know what to do with it. So anyway, kind of how that works. Some pretty neat stuff up here.
Yeah. Andretti used to be one of my favorite. John Andretti used to be one of my favorite drivers. When I first started watching racing, Petty was the guy. I mean, he just retired, but so I followed the 43 car thinking I would follow some winners, and that was not the case.
Yeah. Well, it's still iconic, and I love that side. I knew as soon as I got it, I said, man, I am keeping this. I've had that almost since I started doing this. And the 3 donuts on it, I put, how strong Facebook is, it's crazy. Like, I put it in our group. I said, guys, I need y'all to help me find a picture of this to tie it to a track, and they did. It wasn't, 30 minutes, and somebody had a picture of it from Richmond, and it had those donuts on it. So that was really cool. If I could track that back, or they could, and help me out with that. This Junior Johnson piece is unique. It was driven and raced by Junior Johnson in 1991, and you guys can go check it out on YouTube. But there was a Legends race on the short track there at Charlotte where they do the Legends cars, and man, Junior was out there just beating and banging, raising hell with everybody on the track, and it was all older guys. Childress was out there racing, just a bunch of dudes like that, and it looked like they had a really good time. So that was in Wilkesboro, and the guy contacted me and asked me if I wanted to buy it, and I said, heck yeah, I'd love to hang that up in here. So I got to find somewhere to put it.
Wow. Is it tough to cut these pieces?
Only the truck stuff. The truck stuff is really, it's a pain, man, because there's a seam that runs down the middle of it. So you can use, we've got shears that we cut half of it, and then we got to use a sawzall for the other half of it, and it still has Bondo in it, and just shatters all over the place. But really, it's not that big of a deal. The new stuff, we don't cut a whole lot. The composite body panels, we just got these. That's from Talladega, was Todd Gilliland.
Okay.
So I don't know if people haven't seen them, they're really, really durable. But this is busted, so they can't reuse it.
Oh, okay.
They can repair some of them, but at some point they've peeled some of the wrap off to check damage and get it inspected at the track. I think this is a pretty hot area right here for manipulation.
Right.
Aero advantage or something. So they peel those and look, and but anytime there's damage that can't be repaired, if it's going to cost more to fix it, they just ditch the panel, and then we trim it up and try to sell it, where a fan or customer can hang it in their garage, and it makes sense. And some people, it's crazy. We catch grief a little bit sometimes for cutting stuff, but we cut it with several things in mind, one being shipping.
Yeah.
How can we ship this piece to you affordably and safely? And people ask every week, how do you hang stuff? How do y'all hang this? How do you put it on your wall? It's too big and all that. So we try to make them, like the Corey Heim door that's over there. That was like a whole side, and we've cut it down to where it's just a good looking door panel. It's square, it's easy to hang, it's easy to ship, and it's an affordable piece to ship versus something that's 6 feet long or 7 feet long. Right.
Yeah. And you guys have is that a embroidery shop on the other side there?
It is, yes sir. We January will be 3 years that we bought the embroidery shop from a guy who was retiring here in town, and we just cross paths a lot through NASCAR. He does a lot of the NASCAR team apparel. We do all the Roush Fenway stuff, and so we've moved that with the relationships I've got with the sheet metal. I've been able to get involved with Jeremy Clements and Jordan Anderson, Front Row Motorsports, Legacy, GMS, and those guys. So we've tried to keep it growing, but not too fast and too big where we can't handle it. So it's and we also do a lot of local business, but it's been a challenge to say the least.
Right.
There's way more to making a hat than I ever thought there was, but it's pretty fun.
That's awesome. Well, Eric, where can everybody find you if they haven't already?
Well, we're located right off the interstate, Interstate 85 here in Gastonia. It's a little town called Lowell, North Carolina, off exit 22. We're all over social media, on Facebook. We have a private group on Facebook with 30-some thousand people. You can join that. We have auctions a couple nights a week, and we have a business page on Facebook as well. And then we're on Instagram, TikTok,
all the stuff,
man.
Yeah.
Just check us out. Google our name, and my son and all those guys in there handle all the social media. So
awesome. Well, Eric, I appreciate you touring me.
yeah, buddy. Thank you for coming by.
Good to meet you. Thank you. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed that, and stay tuned for the next on tour, where we have several more places here in North Carolina we're going to be visiting.